So this is chapter 3. It's be a very short lecture because it is primarily about Kirchhoff's current law and Kirchhoff's voltage law, which you are all familiar with. So I'm just going to do a very quick revision of some specific aspects of KCL, KVL and their specific applications that are discussed in chapter 3. Okay, so Kirchhoff's current law, you know, the algebraic sum of the currents at a node is equal to 0. So let us look at this node here. So there are 4 currents, and if you want to write the KCL mathematically, we can write minus I1. So if we say that the current leaving a node is positive, then the current entering a node is negative, then we'll say minus I1 plus I2 minus I3 plus I4 equal to 0. We could say the same thing by reversing the convention. So if we say the current entering a node is positive, then we'll get I1 minus I2 plus I3 minus I4 equal to 0. Now we will follow this first convention, the convention that currents leaving a node are positive. Alright, throughout the semester, for everything that you do, you will follow this convention. Current leaving a node is positive while writing KCL. Okay, so that is one thing I want to point out. The other thing, which is very straightforward but still very tricky because a lot of students get confused about this. So I'm going to talk about it. So let us look at this element R that is connected between these two nodes, and these two node voltages are V1 and V2, and the current I1 is flowing from V2 to V1. So if we want to write Ohm's law, current is equal to voltage divided by resistance. So I1 is the current flowing from V2 to V1. So we write I1 is equal to V2 minus V1 by R. Alright, if the current is flowing from V2 to V1, then we say V2 minus V1 by R. Okay, so we can therefore write minus I1 equal to V1 minus V2 by R. The sign changes. Minus I1 is the current leaving V1. Alright, I1 is entering, minus I1 is leaving V1. So if we write a KCL at this node V1 and we want to write the current leaving the node in this resistor R, we'll write V1 minus V2 by R. Okay, this is very simple but very important. This sign gets confusing, but please remember these two things. Also notice that, so if we have this element connected between V1 and V2, and if I want to write the current leaving the node V2 in this resistor, then it is this form and V2 is positive. If I want to write the current leaving V1, then it is minus I1 and V1 is positive. So if we write a current leaving a node in terms of voltages, then whichever node it is leaving, that voltage will be positive. Okay, we'll come back to this and you should get used to it in a little while, in a few lectures. Okay, let's quickly go through what is called as voltage division. I don't know if you've done this before. I think you have. So we'll just go through this very quickly. So let's say we have a voltage source connected in series with 3 resistances R1, R2, R3. And let us say the voltages across these 3 resistances are V1, V2, V3. And a current I flows through this one loop. Then we can write Kirchhoff's voltage law, the algebraic sum of voltages around the loop being 0, as minus V0 plus V1 plus V2 plus V3 equal to 0. So that is here. And V1 is equal to I times R1, V2 is I times R2, V3 is I times R3. So we get I times R1 plus R2 plus R3 equal to V0. And so we can find I from this equation. You all know this. From this, I want to find the voltages V1, V2, V3. So V1 is I times R1. We found I. So we say V1 is I times R1. So it is R1 by R1 plus R2 plus R3 into V0. Similarly, V2 is R2 by R1 plus R2 plus R3 V0. V3 is R3 divided by R1 plus R2 plus R3 into V0. These equations are called as voltage division equations. The voltage in a series circuits, or the voltage across a series combination of resistances divides in this ratio. So the voltage across a particular resistance in a series combination is that resistance divided by the sum of the resistances. Okay, this should become part of your memory, long-term memory. You should be able to write these equations without having to solve for this circuit every time. One thing to recognize about these equations is that if you have resistors connected in series, and if I want to find of these three voltages, which is the largest voltage will correspond to the largest resistance. Right? That's obvious from this R1, R2, R3. Whichever the denominator is the same, V0 is the same. Whichever is the largest of R1, R2, R3 will have the largest voltage drop. Okay, so in a series resistances, the largest voltage drop is across the largest resistance. Okay, let's do current division. Suppose we have two resistances connected in parallel with a current source. I want to find the currents in both these resistances. So we'll apply, so these three are in parallel, so the voltage across all three is the same. Let us say it is V. Then we can write a Kirchhoff's current law at this top node. So I'm using this convention of current leaving is positive. So we say minus I0 plus I1 plus I2 equal to 0. And the current I1 is the voltage across it divided by R1. So we say V by R1 plus V by R2 equal to I0. And so I solve for V, R1, R2 by R1 plus R2, I0. You know this is a parallel combination. Now we use this to find the currents. So the current I1 is V divided by R1. So it is, what is it? This divided by R1. So R2 stays in the numerator. So I1 is equal to R2 by R1 plus R2. And similarly, I2 will be R1 by R1 plus R2. Now let's do an example. Let us say I0 is 1 ampere. Let us say R1 is this is kilo ohms, not W. Let us change this quickly. Okay. So let us say these resistances are 1 kilo ohm and 999 kilo ohms. Alright, so then I1 will be 999 divided by 1000 into I0. I0 is 1, so it will be 0.999 amperes. I2 will be R1, which is 1 divided by 1000, so 0.001 ampere. So obviously I1 is much larger than I2. I1 flows through R1. R1 is the smaller resistance. So if you have two resistances in parallel, most of the current flows through the smaller resistance. The larger resistance has a smaller current, the smaller resistance has a larger current. This equation is called current division. Current divides between I1 and I2 according to this equation. Alright, let us look at a small design problem. Let us say that we are asked to design a circuit inside this box such that if Vn is equal to 12 volts, then Vout is equal to 0.4 times Vin, which is 4.8 volts. And we are also asked that the power consumed by this circuit must be between 2 milliwatts and 5 milliwatts. So Vo is lower than Vin, so the circuit we need is a voltage divider. So here is the circuit. So we have 12 volts and we have R1 and R2, and we take the output Vo across R2. And what we need is that this voltage is 4.8 volts when this is 12 volts. So we have to write an equation that will give us R1 and R2, actually two equations. So the first equation is of course the voltage division. So we say 4.8 is equal to R2 by R1 plus R2 into 12. So that gives us one equation, and if we solve this, then we'll get R1 equal to 1.5 R2. So that's one equation. The other condition we are given is that the power consumed by this circuit must be between 2 and 5 milliwatts. The power of course is consumed only by R1, R2. So how much is the power consumed? It is V0 squared, this V in squared divided by the total resistance, which is R1 plus R2. So this is 12 squared by R1 plus R2, which is 144 divided by 2.5 R2, because R1 is equal to 1.5 R2. So that is this. And we are told that this quantity must be between 2 and 5 milliwatts. So if we find R2, then we get R2 must be between 28.7 and 11.5 kilo ohms. Now this is a characteristic of design problems, that generally there is no single answer to the problem. There are many, in fact infinitely many answers possible. Generally speaking, this is true for design problems. So we choose arbitrarily any value for one of the parameters R2 here. So anything between in this range. So we say, well, let R2 be equal to 20 kilo ohms. And if R2 is 20, then from this equation we get R1 equal to 30 kilo ohms. So these values will give us satisfy both the conditions. Alright, you should check. Actually, one thing that one must do while solving design problems is that after we solve it, we must analyze the circuit. So we take this circuit, put R1 equal to 30 kilo ohms, R2 equal to 20 kilo ohms, and then find this voltage and also find the power and make sure that these conditions are met. This checking is important to make sure that if we made any mistake, we'll catch the mistake. Alright. Last thing in this lecture is what happens when we connect voltage and current sources in series and parallel. So let's say we have two voltage sources like this, and they are connected in series, VA and VB. Then we know that the voltage across the combined series combination is VA plus VB. On the other hand, if the voltage sources are connected like this with the polarities opposite, then the combined voltage will be VC minus VD. Alright, you need know this, so I'm just revising this. What if we connect two voltage sources in parallel like this when VA is not equal to VB? What happens? Okay, think about it just for a second. Let us do current sources. So let's say we have two current sources connected in parallel like this, IA, IB. Then the combined current through the current sources is of course IA plus IB. This comes from Kirchhoff's current law. The way this comes from Kirchhoff's voltage law. Okay, what happens? We connect two current sources in series when these two values are not equal. What happens? This is the same case as this case, voltage sources in parallel, current sources in series. The answer is don't ever do this, right? You cannot connect two unequal voltage sources in parallel. This is equivalent to a short circuit, and an infinite current will flow in this loop. In fact, this is a peculiar example of where Kirchhoff's voltage law becomes invalid. Kirchhoff's voltage law says that the sum of voltages around a closed loop is zero. It is not zero. And when you violate Kirchhoff's law, you get infinities. So here you will get an infinite current. Here God only knows what happens, but don't ever do this. Alright. Okay. So that is this lecture.